I gotta say, this year has had a lot of surprises, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are one of them, because coming into this season, I ain't gonna lie to you, I did not see them being a playoff team. But here we are just after the first month and a half of the season, and I have to say the Cavs look like they can make the playoffs. Because with the mix of young players and veterans, the Cavaliers have assembled a roster that can compete while still being able to develop for the future. And when you have a team like that, I have to say it's a very dangerous combination to have. Because on one hand, you're seeing the glimpse of what they could be potentially, and you're seeing what they are right now, and both scenarios are positive. I mean, if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, you have to love what you've been able to see so far from your favorite team. Because I have to say, the true scary hours are coming for the Cavaliers. And it looks like they are way ahead of schedule, and the Cavs front office, I have to give them all the credit in the world for getting them where they are today. And to everybody out there that may think this is a fluke thing, please relax, press the brakes, because this team is way better than you probably think. But before we get started with this video, I'd like to give a shout out to my podcast, Hoop Concessions. Now, if you follow us on Hoop Concessions, you know that we've been talking about the Cavs, and one guy in particular is a part of our cast. His name is Darius. He's a whole Cavs fan. We talk about more than just the mainstream teams. We talk about the NBA players, the storylines that nobody's talking about. If you're interested in a nice NBA podcast that's chill, relaxed, and spits the truth, make sure you go and check out Hoop Concessions. The link is down below in the description box. But without further ado, let's get back to the subject at hand and talk about the Cavs. Now, coming into this season, I didn't think the Cavs were going to be trash, just for the simple fact that they do have a Twin Towers. It all started this offseason when they decided to give Jarrett Allen a $100 million extension, in which was met with a lot of polarizing reactions from people, because Jarrett Allen has never been an all-star caliber player. And coming into this season, I'm sure a lot of people didn't even think Jarrett Allen was a top 10 center. So for the Cavs to go out on a limb and give him that $100 million extension and have it pay off in the dividends that it's paying off as we speak, I have to say they deserve a lot of credit for that. This year, Allen is putting up numbers of 14 points a game along with 11 rebounds, shooting 69% from the field. Allen is one of the best rim protectors in the league, and him along with the other guy we're going to mention later on in this video are anchoring down one of the best defenses in basketball, as the Cavs are 8th in defensive rating and 2nd in opponents' points per game. And even offensively, he's great on the offensive glass. He's a great roll man and nice lob threat. But you want to know who's helping him on a lot of these offensive buckets? Yes, that's who I was talking about all offseason. It's your boy Darius Garland. Now, I won't say too much about it because I did make a video about Darius Garland, but I called it. I saw what he was doing last year. He had some connections with Jarrett Allen in the front court. You know, great roll man. It was building some chemistry, I have to say. But this year, DG has been on one. He may not be averaging those Ja numbers or those last year De'Aaron Fox numbers or the Shea numbers, but he's doing his role and his numbers are not bad. Because after a slow start primarily due to injuries, DG has been in his bag over the last 7 games in the month of November, with averages of 19 points a game, 6 assists, a steal and a half, shooting 51 to 52% from the field, 45% from 3, and just short of 90% at the free throw line. Garland's playmaking this year has been amazing, especially as a pick and roll ball handler. He is finding the bigs in the right spots for them to be rather efficient. And even as far as his own scoring, I do have some questions with his aggressiveness at times, but he is still very efficient. The guy has legit deep range, and I'm not saying he's Steph Curry, I'm not saying he's Damian Lillard, but he can pull up from a couple of feet from behind the 3-point line. If you've been watching these games, you know what I'm saying. Of course, I would like to see DG get some rim pressure and be able to do some driving kicks, but at the end of the day, he is who he is, and who he is right now is working out for this team. And speaking of things working out for this team, I have to say the Lauri Markkanen pickup has not been too bad for them, as defensively he's been far better than expected, and even though offensively his shot isn't consistent right now, he is somebody that you still have to respect at the 3-point line, so he's going to provide spacing. And when you have a front court of Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, that's definitely something you have to consider. Eventually his shot will start falling and the entire offense will be clicking in a more more positive light because of it. But if we're being honest, there's been something I've been avoiding this entire video, and all of you guys know what it is. It's about the blee in the Frobly, and that's Evan fucking Mobley. Because I have to say, this man Evan Mobley has been a sensational surprise this year. I mean, I knew he was gonna be good, but I didn't think he'd be this good this soon. The guy is already impactful at an elite level defensively. I mean, he really is the core of what this team is about. His ability to switch on the perimeter while still being a good rim protector due to his size and length. It allows a guy like Jarrett Allen to just be able to drop back in the paint and just protect the rim, which is his best trait anyways on the defensive side of the ball. It helps protect the guy like Darius Garland, who isn't the best defender on the perimeter, and it's the whole reason why they can even afford to have a Lauri Markkanen in their starting lineup at the small forward position. This Twin Towers idea has been amazing for this team, and it's just like the stars are aligned for them. They were able to get Jarrett Allen at the right time in the James Harden deal, and then just like that, a generational power forward, or should I say someone with the potential to be a generational forward in this league for years to come, just so happens to fall in their lap at the 3rd overall pick. If I'm the Rockets, I'm sick to my stomach because you could have had Mobley to pair alongside Christian Wood and been doing something similar in Houston. Because like I said earlier, the guy legitimately is an elite level defender right now. If you look at his on-off numbers on the defensive side of the ball, it is amazing, as when he's on the court, the Cavs have a defensive rating of 103.1. which would rank in the top 5 among all NBA teams. And when he's off the court, their defensive rating shoots all the way up to a 111, which would rank 22nd in the NBA. So that means when he's on the court, they have a top 5 offense, and when he's off the court, they have a bottom 10 defense in the league. That is insane level impact for any rookie in NBA history, and is going to be the reason why he's probably going to make an all-defensive team. But aside from just what he's doing defensively, I have to say Mobley offensively has been amazing also. The guy has handles for a big, and it's only going to get better, so that Durant side of his potential, yeah, be ready for it to be unlocked, because in addition to his handles, he also has great vision out of the post. He can do some two-man game. I like the high post action they do on occasion with him and Darius Garland. Hell, I would like to see even more of that, especially when Sexton gets back. But as far as what I've seen so far, he definitely has the potential to become one of the better playmakers at his position. And then even his jump shot, it's not there yet, but it obviously will get there, because if you've been watching these games, his form looks relatively decent, and with more reps naturally over time, it's going to start falling consistently, which will make him a stretch 4. And once that happens, that's just another level of his offensive game unlocked as a scorer and even a playmaker. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself, because right now Mobley is not an elite level offensive player. He's a solid offensive player, but his real gifts are on the defensive side of the ball, and this year he's using those gifts to help the Cavs potentially secure a playoff opportunity. And I know right now a lot of you guys are probably skeptical due to their offensive struggles, because they're not the best offensive team. They're bottom half in both points per game and offensive rating. But I keep having to remind a lot of you guys that when it comes to the NBA, you can get away with not having the best offense if your defense is that potent. We've seen it from numerous teams throughout NBA history that have been subpar offenses while their defense has been able to carry them to wins. A perfect example of that are last year's New York Knicks. A terrible offensive team, but defensively they were one of the best in the league, you know, that Tom Thibodeau effect. And sure, that style of play wasn't sustainable come postseason time, but it's not like the Cavs have championship aspirations. Making the playoffs is good enough for them. And if we're really being honest, they're missing their best offensive player in Colin Sexton. When he gets back, he's definitely going to bring some life into this offense that is much needed. Because as much as I like what Rubio's doing and I like what Cedi Osman's doing, those guys, they having a nice little season, I gotta give it to them, but Sexton is the answer offensively, not those guys. And when he gets back and then Rubio moves to the bench to work with the second unit permanently, Cedi Osman keeps doing Cedi Osman things. I ain't gonna lie, this Cavs team, they're gonna be better than I think a lot of people are anticipating for them to be. But then that brings us to the question of the day that I want to propose to all of you guys out there, and that is, if the Cavaliers are playoff bound, let me know why you think they are or are not down below in the comment section, and I will read a couple of those comments in the next video. video. But speaking of the comments of the day, that brings us to the comments of the day from last video, and I asked you guys, where do you rank Nikola Jokic in the NBA? And a lot of you guys gave some great responses, but these were the ones who caught my attention the most. The first comment is from a username that I'm not even going to try to pronounce because I don't want to mispronounce it and disrespect you, but he stated, the best passing big man ever, second on rebounding so far this year, much improved defense, highest PER, will soon overtake Will as the center with the most triple doubles ever. Gotta have him in the top 5. I'd have him at number 4 given Kawhi's injury. Not gonna lie, between Jokic and Kawhi, it's really hard. It just depends if you value Kawhi's defensive impact or Jokic impact as a playmaker. But moving on to the next comment, we have it's from Anime King, and he said the NBA suspended the MVP and just find a jobber. That is crazy. Jokic is a top 5 player in the league. Now, a jobber, that's funny. Now, I won't cap, I didn't really give my opinion on the Jokic Markieff Morris situation because that's kind of a weird thing. I mean, Jokic wasn't really wrong, but he wasn't really right. And then as far as Markieff Morris goes, I have no sympathy for him whatsoever because he's a dirty ass player. But do I believe if you're going to suspend Jokic, should you suspend Markieff? Yes, I do believe that. But that concludes the comments of the day and the video as a whole. If you enjoyed that segment of the comments of the day, make sure you comment your opinions down below and answer the question of the day in the comment section. I'll make sure to leave the question of the day as the pinned comment. But that concludes this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and press that bell for post notifications. Follow me on social media. The links are down below in the description box. It's your boy Young Mustard signing out. Y'all stay safe and have a blessed day. Peace.